Hello everyone, this is GM VAR Akobian with 1000 GM, and we're going to be doing the recap video of the round number 2, the St. Louis IM Norm tournament. So we have 5 games that we're going to go over, and the first game we have is kind of a long one. It's between Caleb Denby playing with the YPC against WGM Talia Cervantes. Let's start off and see what happened here. D4, knight f6. C4, G6, knight c3, D5. So we have a Grunfeld defense. Grunfeld defense played by Talia. Takes, knight takes, E4, knight takes C3. Pawn takes the bishop C4. C5, attacking the center. Knight goes on E2. Castles. So this is all theory. Here white has a few different options. Bishop d3 is one of the main options. Another option is bishop f7 actually. There's this line where actually white wins a pawn, but in return black obtains a pretty good compensation here after queen d6. Okay. So, and you get the rook on f8. But okay, bishop d3 came in. Takes. Bishop e6, and the point is now you can play d5. If you don't play d5, black can try to equalize by playing bishop to c4. If the bishop c4 takes knight c4, then it's pretty comfortable position. d5 is important. Take. Now, if you move the bishop back, then you're going to be in big trouble because bishop h6. Not big trouble, but some trouble here. Check, f6. We'll get into this position where white is going to be slightly better because this pawn chain is a little bit stronger than this one here, and the knight is still stuck in the corner on a5. So that's why black plays the move f6, because the point is now you cannot take the bishop because d3 is hanging. This is actually a very, very important moment. So let's go back. F6, rook b1, queen b1, bishop b7, knight d4, rook c8. Queen b4, activating the queen, and now putting pressure. So far, as you can see, both players are playing relatively quick. Most of it is just theory. Now b6 played. Bishop a6. d1. Activating the pieces, and white certainly has a compensation here, pretty good compensation. So the question is now how black is going to try to consolidate. Now trying to bring the knight in the game. Bishop f4. Bishop c4. So again, I could just simply take. Caleb could take and play bishop b2, and I think if anybody better here, it's going to be white, because the better pawn structure. There is the c6 square you can use, so it's an advantage for white. Okay, but he played knight c5. We're now not taking the exchange. Rook d2, a5. Bishop f1, knight d6. I'm wondering why not to play this move, knight c6, because it seems very natural. You're attacking the queen. If the queen moves away, you're just simply going to take the pawn on b6. But the problem I think we see with this move is just simply the move knight d6 and then knight d5. If you take the bishop on f7, you're losing your bishop on c4. If you take, just takes, and it's a pretty comfortable advantage for black being up exchange. Bishop f1. So that's why bishop f1 is played. Queen a6 could be played here to keep the queen more active. That could be fine too, but you played here. Queen 2. E8, B5, now A4. Inaccuracy. Trying to weaken the B5, I think, but here perhaps putting the king on the corner would be nice to avoid, you know, the checks and everything. Takes. Yeah, and also the pawn on A4 now, it's extra pawn. And it's a pass pawn as well. It's not like we're winning it back. Queen A1. Rook E8. Bishop B5. Queen D6. And now H3. H3. Bishop B8. And now, yeah, it looks like black is just going to consolidate and trade. So bishop B8. Trading the bishop. Every trade is going to bring black closer to the victory because up exchange, and she's up exchange and up a pawn. King goes over. If we take immediately here, queen b4, trying to trade queens. Let's see. So that's why h3 played. h1, a3, pushing the pawn. Queen a2. Queen a2 is a mistake, but position is already difficult. f7. Queen b4 is a good option. Queen b4, b2 idea. e6, lock it up. Queen c4. Yeah, now e6 is under attack too. So f7, yeah, not the best move. Not the best move here. Yeah, queen b4 would have been better. Queen c3. Check. Trying to trade pieces. Queen d6. d6, breaking the center, and now opening up the rook. If we take, the bishop is hanging. Queen. Extra piece here. Yeah, it's a good win. Good win for Talia Cervantes. I think Caleb had some chances. Definitely, I think the opening was fine for white, and he had some good chances here. And he could have simply taken on f8 when he had the choice to. If we go back. Yeah, right here. Simply could have taken on c7 and get the exchange back and try to play for a small advantage there. But he thought this bishop is going to be very strong, so that's why he wanted to keep it there. Let's move on to the next game. The next game is a very important because it's a game between international master Stavrula Solakidu and against FM Varun Krishna. E4, bishop 5, bishop d7, d7, queen d7, castles. Knight c6, c4, d5. Normally, you know, you can start with the move rook e1 here. Sometimes you can play c4. So a c3, you know, you see knight f6 here played more often, but now we see the d5 comes in. Takes e6, bishop b3, f6, knight e5, castle, queen a4. So we get this structure. These structures are always very tricky. It may seem like white is better because of the weaknesses on a7 and c6, but on the other hand, you have a weakness on d4, and this b file is going to give a good counterplay. So objectively, I think this position is just equal here. So I wouldn't say anybody is better here. And c7. So it's nice to keep the queens on the board. stopping knight g4. Now knight d5 is gonna come. E6. And now, as you can see, black is starting to get a little bit active here. I like queen c4. I like queen c4, trying to propose the trade. Queen c4, probably the move queen b5 is going to be played. Yeah, probably the move queen b5 is going to be played. So play knight g3, push f6, queen c4. Yeah. Once this trade occurs, it becomes clear that only black can be better here because the pawn structure has been fixed, and now there's a pressure on d4. There's a very nice knight on d5, and b4 is now on top. f4. 1, b7. f4. Yeah, that's a very risky move here. Yes, that's not a move I would recommend. I would just recommend to play rook c1, bishop d2. This is what I would recommend to get the pieces. Before this pair, just simply bishop d2. No problem. Most likely we'll see something like this. b3. Knight c3, knight c3 takes. And, yeah, certainly black might think he's a little bit better still, but I think it's not as much here. Yeah, if you go back, then simply bishop a3, because you want to make sure you're covering bishop a3, because after bishop a3 you have to give up the c file, so it's important to keep the c file on here. Back to the game. Yeah, 4. Yeah, that's a really weakening move. Before rook c2, and now rook c4. That's interesting. Why not rook c2? It seems so natural to play this and attack the pawns. So bishop c1, rook a c8, putting more pressure. Rook c4. Bishop c1. b2. Yeah, this is just winning. Again, rook c2 would have been a really good choice as well here. Can't do this, unfortunately. Take. Yeah, you run into a background mate. So that's why it plays rook d3. Rook c2 is a strong idea too. Rook on f3. Yeah, and we get a position where it's 2 pieces for a rook. Should be technically winning. Bishop f6. 7. Yeah, rook c2, and now it's just going to be a technically winning position because 2 bishops are stronger than a rook. Rook c3, rook f3, king f1, 5. Lots of maneuvering, and eventually I want to go back to the very end of the game. So we get this position where we have this is like a almost 100 move game. So king c4, and now we have the move g3 played. And here rook b2 might be the best move. I think it's still just winning after king h5, king g4, but he played here. Now g2, bishop g5 is maybe a better choice, but here. And here actually after knight g2, white just resigned, but it would have been interesting to test the opponent if he knows how to checkmate. I talked to Varun after. He's like, yeah, he knows the W maneuver, and he knows that, it's just the most important idea, how you drive the king from the black corner, from white corner, let's say in this case, to the color of your bishop. You have to drive him to, if you have a dark square bishop, this is the squares where you're going to mate them. But if the king stays in the middle or in a white corner, then from the middle he can't really stay. He has to go back to the corner. Usually they go to the white corner, and then you have to use what's called the W maneuver to do that. So I've done a YouTube video of it. So if you type that, you will see how to do that. And there are many videos out there to show how to do that. Next matchup we have is the game between Yim playing with the white pieces against FM Eckert. FD D5. FM Eckert is a very solid player. He does a lot of correspondent chess as well. We have the Slav. And we see immediately very aggressive choice by Yim. E6. A3. The idea of A3 is to stop the move bishop before check. That's the primary idea, to play there and just to make sure the bishop is not going to come there. So B7 takes. Okay, another idea is just take back with the queen, I think. So it's absolutely fine. Queen C2, bishop B7. Here. So knight d7, h4. Bishop d3, queen c7. And now black is very solid, but white has the two bishops. The bishop, which is going to be important. Now knight here. So the perhaps idea is you could do take. And then you play the move c5. So you got to open up the position. The reason you want to open the position is because opponent king is stuck in the middle of the board. So now rook c1. I'll simply go queen goes on b6. And bishop c3, bishop f6, and it was more or less equal. Knight f6 is played. Bishop d2. Knight e4. Now white lost his pair of the bishops. Long castle. This is interesting. Long castle is an option, but why not short castle? That way your rook is already in the game. Yeah, you go here, and then simply you can play the move f5. Takes, g takes f5. Bishop f6. Yeah, I like this for block. Queen can go to f7, attacking this, and also put a little bit more pressure on c4. This should be a very nice position for black. So yeah, I don't think you need to play long castle. You can, but I prefer the short castle here. Okay, here. d1. 5. Now king d2. c2. c5, trying to open up the position. Perhaps that could wait. I mean, if black just wants to play solidly, let's go here. Yeah, just very solid position for black here. I mean, maybe white is a little bit better, but it's very hard to find a pawn here. A pawn that will allow you to win, you know, or even get some advantage. So, castle, f5, c5 is played instead, c5 instead, trying to attack the center, b3. Yeah, perhaps just g takes f5, and if he takes f5, there is d5 line. And this should give white an advantage because the d6 pawn, d pawn is a passed pawn, and there is also some rook g1, rook g6 ideas out there. take, b8. Yeah, this is very important here. This is very important moment. You know, it's time to try to get some counterplay. He took on f3, which is okay. Took on f3, which is okay, but what else could be done? Take. And now take, rook takes, and simply play the move e3. And it's gonna give some good compensation here, the pawn e3, because it's nicely advanced. So, but instead he takes f3 plate, queen takes f3, takes, and now it's a problem because there are two weaknesses: the weakness on e6 and a weakness on g7. So, g8. Yeah, perhaps some other move could be played here. Maybe some defensive move, queen c6. But that's this. And you can take. And now queen e4. Yeah, now the bishop cannot move. The e8 rook is hanging, and there is a rook e1 idea as well. So here, very important, queen d5. So if there's a capture on c3, you have the move queen g8 check. Not queen g8, queen g8, so you're not blocking your rook from coming in on d8. So yeah, e5 was definitely an inaccuracy because now take. And now it just takes pawn. And white is also very, very active, no counterplay. So far. Everything is guarded. Yeah, now we're just trading pieces. It's another pass pawn. And another good move is actually to play d6. Here, and I resigned because the next is just simply winning the bishop, and there are no checks, so most likely the exchange of the queens will occur as well. So yeah, this was a very interesting game, and white managed to prevail here, but it looked like black FM Eckert had a very solid position in this game. Let's move on to the next game. Next game we have between IM Wang against WIM Antova. So we have the Sicilian, close Sicilian. Yeah, it seems to me maybe it needs to be taken this night. I mean, you can leave it there, but why not just take it? Yeah, so bishop b2, bishop g7, and simply you want to castle here. But instead, yeah, knight g6, I don't know if I like it, because the knight on d5 will be very strong. Bishop b7, d3, knight h4 now, trying to trade this knight and also get some f5 ideas going. King h8 was another option, king h8, f5 here. Knight d2, Bishop g5 activating. d5. Yeah, d5 looks definitely interesting. Another option, you still have some f5 ideas in this position as well. d4. Bishop a3 now. b6, just protecting the pawn. Knight c4. b7. Now just two knights versus two bishops, but the bishops are not very effective here because the character of the position is closed. Yeah, now e5 attack. b3 and 58. Look, d3 now. Again, the position opens up. That should favor the player with the white pieces. d6 comes in, now attacking the pawn. Yeah. Yeah, he gave white opportunities. He's a very active attacking player. Now bishop d2 and queen b3, and simply winning the material here. So yeah, I mean, this is rook c4 and just knight c6 was a big oversight. Gabriela had only 1 minute on the clock, so it's a difficult position to play here. Perhaps knight c8 could be played. So knight c8, h4, takes, bishop f4, something like this could be played. Takes and have some h6 ideas. I think it's still easier to play for white here. Might be equal, but it's just easier to play for white. But instead, just knight c6, poor move, and this way now comes in, and the rook cannot be protected. And also the problem is if you move it anywhere, run into the check, discovery check, and you're losing the queen. So you don't have time to take on d3. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunate oversight, knight c6, just a one move. If she goes knight c8, it's still a game here. All right, guys, let's move on to the last game. And this is the game between a very young and promising player, FM Ryo-Chen, playing IM Matthias Marek. So let's take a look. This is in defense. It's always fun. It's a sharp opening. Now 97. Play by Matthias. Knight c6 is another move you can play here. And now knight b6, because the idea is to try to trade and bring the other knight to c6. So knight b3 is played to avoid that. Queen h5. Another option is to play here f4. f4 to put some pressure on e5. Queen g4. Yeah, queen h4 is another option to try to fight for the dark squares. f5. So now bishop d4 comes in. Trying to trade. If you trade bishops, I think it's going to be a little bit better for white. So after take, and e5, he plays e5 immediately. e5, castle. So finally, black gets to castle. I mean, it's not great. It's move 17, but at least you get to castle now. So okay, d1. Black is consolidating. And now trying to repeat, but queen c8 comes in. The question is, why not knight c6 to control some d4 squares? And now a4 is an idea. f4 is an idea. f4 when we switch everything on a d file, the rooks. Yeah, now knight c6. So let's move on now. Queen h3. d4 comes in, trying to open up the position. Bishop takes d4. b4 takes. Knight e2. Now Matthias is picking up the pawn. Yeah, d4 was the oversight here. d4. In this position, just a4 would have been a better choice here. a4 takes, knight takes a4. Takes. Bishop g7. Knight e2. Picking up a pawn. But the position is a little bit open. Here, knight d5 would have been a good choice. Knight d5. Here, knight e3. This would have won some more material for black, and most likely the game as well. You play bishop d5. Here on. 5. That's not the best. Knight ed4 would have been a best choice here, but somehow he still escaped here. Queen b7, inaccuracy. Queen a8, attacking the pawn. Rook g1, f4, f3. It's just too powerful. Looks like it's just going to be a clear win here. But instead of playing this, you play queen b7. It's really strange because that allows a tempo. More tempo. b6. I have to go here. Yeah, now knight f4, king f3. And as you see, the pawns are doubled, and now it's just going to simply pick up the pawns. And they just repeated the game, and the back and forth game looks like white was a little bit better out of the opening, but then black took over the game and actually had some good winning chances in that game. So at the end, it ended in a draw. Very good fighting game and good result for Ryu Chen. You know, he played one of the stronger players in the section and made a draw. So thank you, everybody. This is a recap number 2, conclusion, and we'll be back with the recap number 3 and 4 very shortly. Thank you, everybody, and make sure to subscribe to 1000 GM YouTube channel. See you soon. Bye-bye.